But here is my stance on this. Till when are we going to sit and mop around and have a pity party waiting for a cure? When there is evidence that when you take your ARVs, you have an undetectable viral load and still do the same things that you were going to do even if you're HIV negative. I'm talking about you can go to school, you can pursue your studies, your business. You can have a relationship, a marriage, enjoy sexual intimacy without choosing protection and not transmitting the virus to your partner and also to your children. You know what? QHO, but in the meantime, don't we have young children that are born vasina HIV?
Yeah.
Don't we have serodiscordant couples? Serodiscordant, I mean, umari positive, umari negative. Don't we have those? So, I mean, of course, it's going to come and eradicate that HIV and you'll be declared HIV negative. But chicha kutadza kuita right now with the ARVs.
That is a very positive.
Denny J Show. Zvanga zviri down to up tauraitirwe nyaya dzacho dzese narrative ndaichidwe kana mchida kutipisa deep ndaipidwe make you spill a bean if you know what I mean Andy.
It's time.
Okay, I've switched on my audio. Ladies and gentlemen, it's the Denny J Show. What's up, guys? We are back. Guess who's back? Nash?
What's good, Denny?
Are we good?
Blessed.
You've been reading the comments, man. The people have been asking. Where's the guy? Where's the guy?
The people also need to realize that, I travel a lot, so.
Okay, all right. Do you want to tell us where you were?
No, I'm bad. I know. I'm not.
It's not necessary.
That's not necessary.
All right, okay. How you been, my brother?
No, blessed, man. Can't complain.
Yeah, that's nice. Pilos is in the house. Rue is here. Rue's friend is here. Everybody's here. Today we have a very different. Is that what we call it now? We have a very different episode. I think this is going to be a very good discussion.
Different, educational.
Yeah. But people expect that from us, right?
Yeah,
We always learn something when we come out. So this next guest, I think you tell us a little bit about it, Nash, because Nash discovered this guest, and I thought it was a brilliant idea that we brought her to the show.
I'm very big on TikTok, so one day I was just scrolling through, and then I bumped into a page.
Right.
And then I said, a slay queen like this, pretty, beautiful young girl.
Yeah.
Amazing story.
Doing a thing.
Doing a thing.
So what exactly caught your eye when you were looking? What captured your attention?
The fact that she was very honest about the story.
Yeah.
The story was touching.
Right.
But, we're going to allow her to explain herself and tell us a story and journey. But just that aspect of her just coming out and explaining to people is what we need.
Yeah. And I think the whole topic of HIV and AIDS has been topical for a long time. And it's always nice to hear the perspective of someone who's actually walked the road, rather than people who are talking about stuff they don't know. So, ladies and gentlemen, in the studio today we have Phyllis Mavushe. Is that it? That's it, right? That's how you pronounce it, right? Mavushe. Yes, Phyllis Mavushe. She is an HIV and AIDS activist, social media influencer. Is she a slay queen, Nash?
No, I was just joking. Definitely far from a slay queen.
All right, okay. Ladies and gentlemen, Phyllis Mavushe. Phyllis, how are we doing today?
I'm good, Denny. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks a lot for making time to come and have this chat with us. We are very inspired by the work you're doing on social media, and I think you need to get as much support as you can to push the message across, and we really like what you're doing.
Thank you so much. Actually, I appreciate you having me on your platform. You're actively helping spread the information, raise awareness.
Yeah.
So I'd say thumbs up. You're doing a great job.
Yes. So we met today, and I think we just hit it off, right? I think you're a very good person. You're very nice. Your character is nice, and you're very charismatic. And for those who don't know, I think let's get straight into the background about the work that you're doing. I know you, in terms of education, you have a master's in clinical psychology. And you've been on this journey for quite a while. Let's get into the background. Tell the people at home and everywhere else what your story is about in terms of what you're doing with regards to HIV and AIDS.
Oh, okay. I was born with HIV, and it's been 14 years now since knowing my diagnosis, and 14 years on treatment as well. Part of my work or is mainly to do with advocacy for people living with HIV. And then maybe like what Nash has said, the spaces that I'm mostly active on is TikTok, Facebook, where I just create some short videos, educational, to share information and raise awareness out there about some of the myths and misconceptions that are circling my streets regarding HIV.
Yeah.
So I think basically that's that. And also maybe I have experience working with young people living with HIV.
I can hear all those sounds there in the background. That's what I was saying. Okay, yeah. We need to sort out our sound. Bako, the people were shouting at you for the sound, right? So you got us a master microphone? Okay. All right, okay. No, but the guy is ready to talk at any... yeah. Sorry to interrupt you, Phyllis. We do that here.
Yeah, I love his pose.
Oh, Nash.
No.
My brother.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. He looks very serious, right?
No,
the guy wants to learn.
He's changed and
he looks
attention mode.
He looks like he wants to learn. Yeah.
Say for he doesn't have a book and a pen, but he's eager to learn.
Yeah.
People just want to know more. Huh?
Yeah.
Hear from the was smart, I guess.
Yeah. All right.
I guess we have plenty of time.
I appreciate you.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah, that's great. Sorry to interrupt you, Phyllis. We do that from time to time. You can.
No worries. I think I was done.
You were done.
Yes.
Okay. So I think the very important things. Let's talk about HIV and AIDS. Mm-hmm. What is HIV? What is AIDS? Because the two are related, but there's a difference.
Yes.
Yeah. Can we just start off there for the viewers at home and the listeners on the pod?
Okay. From the HIV and AIDS.
Yeah. The definition, just so people. Because
Yeah.
we throw it around. Oh, here's HIV.
HIV, AIDS, yeah. I come across that a lot of times, oftentimes. From the abbreviation, HIV stands for Human Immunodeficiency Virus.
Okay.
And A stands for Acquired Immunodeficiency Syndrome. HIV is the virus that causes AIDS.
Right. Mm-hmm. So you can have HIV but not AIDS.
Yeah, it's very possible to have HIV and not have AIDS, and I think that's where the issue of Kuturama ARVs comes into place, because we're trying to suppress the virus so that it doesn't progress to AIDS.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So let's come to you personally. When did you find out that you had HIV, and what was that like for you? That's the moment you discovered that you had HIV.
Okay. I discovered in August 2011.
Right.
I was only 16, about to sit for my O-level examinations. Chita on and off in school, so I was in boarding school.
Right.
Then during that vacation school year, August, I was encouraged to go and see the doctor. And upon the visit, he ruled out everything, all the conditions that I might likely be suffering from, and he recommended I get an HIV test, which I found it funny during that time, because I assumed, in as much as we had learned about all those modes of transmission, HIV transmission, I just assumed I'm safe because I wasn't sexually active.
Right.
That's the main one. So I was like, no, I'm safe. And when I received the news, when you broke it down to me that I am HIV positive, it was devastating. I saw my world crumble before me, and especially now that I was about to sit for my O-level exams,
Yeah.
I was asking God, I was not questioning the existence of God. If he really cares about me, why would he let me receive this diagnosis towards my exams? So my life is about to crumble. That's what I felt. Yeah. I felt life was being unfair. God was being unfair because I wasn't sexually active, not even thinking about boyfriends. Right. So how come? Yes, I knew Kuti, you can get HIV by birth, from parent to child, mother to child. But I wasn't just expecting it could be me. Yeah. I was so hammered on, especially the beliefs, church shaped, muskanzo away, promiscuity, AIDS, shamu, promiscuity, AIDS. Sakakananda grow and shamu, promiscuity.
Yeah, when you haven't done anything.
That's unfair.
Yeah. So how did you get past that? How did you get through that? Must have been a very turbulent time.
It was very turbulent. I would cry myself to sleep. I tried to commit suicide several times that day. I think 4 times a day.
The same day?
The same day. It wasn't easy. But, there was something that my doctor had to just intervene. He was really supportive.
Yeah.
Through the counseling. And he gave me just one word of advice to say, I mustn't think that my world is crumbling. Now that I'm about to write for my exams, the only person who can stop me from achieving my goals is myself, and not HIV per se. And when he told me that, I just kind of gathered the courage and went and sat for my exams, hoping to score 5 A's that time, but instead I scored 7 A's.
Wow.
So then I realized his words were true, but then there was still more to be done in terms of acceptance. Mm-hmm. He referred me to a hospital where we have my support groups of young people living with HIV. Yeah. Oh, it was amazing. That turned my life around, and it helped me to accept my status.
Oh, wow, nice. Our society does not handle the issue of HIV and AIDS very well. There's stigma around the disease, AIDS, and also just HIV in general. What prompted you to want to come out in the open? Because I know a lot of people have the disease, but most of them don't want people to know. What prompted you to come out and say to the world that you are living positively with HIV?
I needed to break the silence and also to demystify the myths and misconceptions around HIV. So, zvakandibata pandakapiwa that diagnosis, and all the misconceptions and the stigma and the discrimination that was going on about. I know even as a young person would come across such information, AIDS, but I wanted now the world to see the reality of HIV. What is it really like? It's not a monster as they portray it. It's not deadly as they perceive it to it. Vanwani HIV, they are not as, what term can I give? Those derogatory terms that they'll give. So I needed to, break that and actually show to the world that it's high time people accept people that are living with HIV for who they are, their competencies, their capacities, and see them beyond an HIV diagnosis.
Right. Yeah. So this was a personal decision that you made. How did your parents and relatives take this decision? Because I'm sure it obviously affects them as well, in terms of society and people just saying things. How did they take it when you decided, I want to, do the advocacy and let people know?
So as young as I was, that same year when I was diagnosed, I told my mom, this is what I want to do. So she wasn't sure about that because she felt that I was too young, or maybe I'm being impulsive, or maybe I'm trying to look for comfort. So and it's like, wait a little longer till you grow up, because there's some certain issues around HIV that you may not be able to cope with the negative comments that will come through, and you're going to be putting it out there. You know, how is it going to affect your studies, your relationships, your romantic relationships? One day you want to settle down. So she wasn't really that supportive when I was 16, because she sure I wanted to do it kuchikoro. Yeah, and take advantage of my school assembly and, you know, share with them, raise awareness with the school. So I had to wait a little bit. And then opportunities kept on coming. Like, I had the opportunity to serve as a volunteer in the community, to cheat my shows, you know, I would talk openly about it, and I would still present it to her. That's what I want. And, you know, my mom believed in me, and she's like, she told me, "Kuti mwanangu, if it's for a good cause, go ahead with it, and I support you." Ever since, my mom has been my number one fan. She's been supportive all the way.
That's amazing. That's amazing. That's nice. You know, like, what did I want to ask? I wanted to ask you about
family.
Yeah, because I did the family. Your mom was supportive.
My mom was supportive. My immediate family, my dad, my siblings were supportive.
Yeah.
I had challenges with my relatives. I remember my first appearance with this was in 2018 on YouTube. I was interviewed with this channel. I received comments like, "Urkufukura hapwa." They would call my parents, "Mudzore, akuda kufukura hapwa, arikutinyadzisa, arikuzama kudaita sei," you know, all those kinds of threats. If you don't pull it down, you know, we won't associate with you. We don't want to associate with you. This is a family secret. You need to conceal it. But I was telling them, I'm not out there to ask for donations.
Yeah.
I'm there to give information and to be like a living example of, despite my HIV status, I can still accomplish 1, 2, 3. I don't have much. I haven't accomplished much as yet. But with the little that I have, at least it could change someone's life. It could change someone's perception about HIV. It could change what the world feels things towards people living with HIV. I'm doing it for a good cause. So, yeah, some I got to understand with time, but even up to now, they're like.
Yeah. You're very active on social media, TikTok, and that sort of thing. That's where we found you. What are some of the challenges, just in general, with the public, the challenges that you've faced ever since you made this decision to come out and openly discuss your HIV status?
The obvious ones are, my comments are negative, are harsh. I would say harsh. Yeah, because in as much as I come out to tell my story, I've received comments like yellow bone, pane vakatodya ipapa vasingazivi, you know, or ari kutinyepera kuti she was born with HIV, and they would associate even with my piercings. I love piercings. Nemhete idzodzi dzaungambotadzi uchibatira chirwere ichochichi. And some would say whatever I'm talking about, it's false. There is a cure. I'm forbidding people to get cured. I'm forbidding people to receive faith healing. You know, all those negative comments are the most obvious challenges. And the other challenges could be, sometimes when you post something, you want people to understand, you want to educate. In terms of viewership, you know, it's quite on the low, but, you know, I'm trying to educate using this platform. Vanhu vangatowandira, vanhu vanoda zvinhu zvinopisa makuhwa or skits or anything, drama, something like that. Educative content, I found, there's little viewership, and I'm like, no, it's okay. I'll continue posting. It may help one person. Maybe it's directed for that person. Yeah. So these are some of the challenges that I face.
Yeah. Let's talk about some misconceptions that are there. Okay. You don't have... wait. Yeah.
Denny, sorry, can I just cut you? I want to go back to the beginning of a story. So you're 16, you find out that you're HIV. what sort of conversations do you have with your parents? You know, when you come from the doctor, did you go to the doctor with your mom or you went by yourself?
Oh, I went with my mom because I've been sick on and off. That year, I think what you call them, boils, and I had skin tags. So, you know, it was confusing because oftenly my mom would get cold to body. This persistent diarrhea. So we've been in that journey, TSA. So, I mean, when I went into the doctor, TD2, when he asked those questions, like, am I sexually active? It was a confident no, because I wasn't, and my mom knew that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So your mom.
So, okay, so your mom gets told that you have HIV. She knows the status. Are you not angry at her?
No, I wasn't angry at her. Reason being, around April that same year, I staggered across a medication. I was studying data sciences O level. So I pure chemistry and any topic in organic chemistry. I'm sure people who are new to chem would understand. So I came across a leaflet. That leaflet was chunky chakaungana. It was wrapping something. So I saw some symbols and I was reading, you know, I was just curious. And then I shook the leaflet, my tablets. So then I started reading the leaflet. That's when I came across the information about, hey, ARVs don't cure HIV, blah, 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 all that. It's a leaflet, very comprehensive. Then I folded it away. I didn't confront her. You know our culture. So it was difficult for me to confront her and say, Mama, I saw this. What are you taking? But at the back of my mind, I accepted because my biological father passed on in 2001. And he had Kaposi sarcoma, which is a cancer. Stage 4 HIV, that's AIDS.
Okay.
Yes. So, Ndagangoji accept kuti, you know what, that's what killed my dad. And when I saw the meds, I was kind of relieved. I was really hurt, kuti. Yes, dad passed on and he did this to my mom. Now my mom has to be on lifelong treatment. But I was just at least relieved because I knew that ARV saves lives. From school, this the education at Hengwa now and stuff. So to answer you, I didn't ask her. She knew of her status and not mine. Yeah.
But you said what your dad had done to your mom. Why did you come to that conclusion that your dad is the one that gave it to your mom?
That's a good question.
Oh yeah, that's a good question. I mean,
is it always the men who bring stuff?
Because
yeah, but
last,
you know, when growing up, and issues the infidelity, sometimes in as much as you try and conceal it,
also Daraitamba.
of course.
But
We knew that was happening.
Established.
We knew Zaibuda in as much as I was young, these issues came out, so I knew.
Okay.
Yes.
Right.
All right. Let's talk about the misconceptions of HIV and AIDS. You know, we've known Magic Johnson, you know, the basketball legend in America. He was one of the early superstars to be diagnosed with HIV. And to this day, I don't believe he has AIDS. Nash was actually telling me that he says he doesn't have. Is it possible to be HIV positive and then have nothing?
Nothing isn't.
Like you'd eradicate HIV completely, like what Nash was claiming Magic Johnson said.
But he is HIV curable.
Yeah, because he was diagnosed, I think it was in the 90s.
Yeah,
was it 80s, 90s?
You know,
He was diagnosed in the 90s when AIDS was really a big deal and people were scared with HIV, AIDS, and that sort of thing. And then we thought at that time that, you know, it was just a matter of time. And then to this day, he's alive. This is over 30 years later. And there are claims, you know, where people are saying he might actually not have HIV anymore. Do you have any case studies of such where someone had HIV and it was completely eradicated?
Not that I've come across, but there are some publications that have indicated a cure has been found. There were trials that were made on patients, I think 2 or 3 of them, and they were completely cured. And those publications imply that the cure requires a lot of money. So, and recently we've come across some information, a cure has been established in South Africa. But as for now, what I know is we don't have the cure as yet. Though there are publications that are publishing and information so we're still running by. There isn't a cure yet.
But do when you hear something that what did you say? There's a cure in South Africa. Does that get your hopes high?
Does that get my
like your hopes high when you hear? Because there's always someone saying there's a cure. Is that not like a fluctuation of your feelings? You're happy, then it doesn't work, and then have you gone for trials?
I haven't gone for trials. Yes.
Any trials of any sort?
No.
Would you be interested in?
I'm scared. I'm scared because
you're like a guinea pig, right? They're
Yes.
experimenting. You don't know what the side effects and that sort of
it's gonna come out. They are yet to establish the drug-to-drug interaction with different.
Like
I haven't answered your question yet about the fluctuation.
yeah.
Of course it does.
She just cut me, huh?
Because Rumanya, I'm gonna.
Okay.
Hold on, young man, hold on.
Yes, it does give fluctuations about the hopes of getting to a cure whereby we completely eradicate this. But here is my stance on this. Till when are we going to sit and mop around and have a pity party waiting for a cure? When there is evidence that when you take your ARVs, you have an undetectable viral load and still do the same things that you were going to do even if you were HIV negative. I'm talking about you can go to school, you can pursue your studies, your business. You can have a relationship, a marriage, enjoy sexual intimacy without using protection and not transmitting the virus to your partner and also to your children.
I have to cut you there.
So wait.
What happened to the other person who was cutting off our guests?
No.
Wait. So my point now is
Nash, you're gonna speak. We don't want to be those people who cut off their guests. Yeah.
Listen. So the reason why there are fluctuations in my feelings, it's what QHO, but in the meantime, don't we have young children that are born vasina HIV?
Yeah.
Don't we have my serodiscordant couples? Serodiscordant, I mean, umari positive, umari negative. Don't we have those? So, of course, it's going to come and eradicate that HIV and you'll be declared HIV negative. But chichor kutadza kuita right now with the ARVs.
That is a very positive approach to it. What were you about to interrupt?
No. The joke you had to put a match.
Oh, it was a bar. Oh, give us a late joke.
We
We promise you will laugh.
Okay, right. So
We can even laugh before you say.
Yes.
Wow, Nash.
Anyway, so I wanted to find out what unprotected sex. Saka vanhu vari kutotsvedza. Like you want a boyfriend like kutotsvedza izvo zvikanoti.
Kuchedza kudi. Nash kuchedza kudi.
Like you said if you can have an unprotected sex, right? Don't kutotsvedza, right? So I'm saying
kuchedza. Oh, you're so vulgar.
I didn't know that one. That's a new term. Right?
kutotsvedza.
Oh. Wait, one time.
Slide.
So in a condom, you're not sliding.
No.
Yeah.
But a friction.
Oh.
No, it's not a new word. It's
No, it's new to me. When I go out there, I'll tell them, you guys. Mire kuchedza. Okay. Okay, so are
So
you
no,
answered, Nash?
no, my question was vanhu vane HIV, right? Vanenge vachitredza here kana kuti the way they use protection because you already have it.
Okay, so let me make it clear for everyone out there. You asked a very important question. Kana chitaura kuti you can enjoy sexual intimacy without using protection only applies when you have an undetectable viral load. Research, scientific evidence has shown if I have an undetectable viral load, I will not transmit the virus to my partner or to my babies. Saka tinogona kuchedza
So are you
pasina
saying
protection.
right now,
Ndakurigona kawedi.
are you saying right now ndogona kutotredza pauri ndovanatadza kutobata something?
Kukandiurayisa neyo. Aiwa, I'm undetectable.
Yeah.
So chero tikachedza. I will not infect you, but this is only applicable to HIV. You need to use protection because pane mamwe ma STIs. You get it?
Yeah, but when I was kukwata mamwe ma STI, varongokwata
Daiva
HIV
iziva.
AIDS.
Daiva iziva. We need to use protection because there are still other STIs that are very invasive, that are very harsh. Imagine kutazi cauliflower, kutamazi warts, mazi genital warts, you know.
Anorabika zvoga.
Yes.
Urbo.
Thank you for saying that.
So
Thank you for
are you
saying.
saying there are the STIs that cannot be cured?
Well, some can be cured, some can be treated.
Okay.
Yeah. So you need to protect yourself against other STIs, and also to tell that there's another STI in Otendirama streets, a pregnancy. People just joke around and say it's an STI. Yeah, you need to protect yourself against unplanned pregnancies.
No, but you see, young girls right now, they're actually more scared of a pregnancy than HIV.
Saka vanobva vashandisa macondoms to prevent pregnancy.
I
Vari kutochedza. Vari kuzvichengetedza nei?
I think, I don't know, but vari kutokwata
Faith.
nhumbu than AIDS or HIV.
Well, masiyaniro evanhu, maybe sometimes also as we are now moving handitya. Vanhu vari kuitawo vachinzwisisawo kuti HIV is totally a manageable condition. But then for one to make that decision yokuti ndinotya nhumbu apart from HIV, because with HIV it's just one pill a day, especially if you're on first line treatment, it's just one pill a day. Mwana maybe because uchazoda umuchengeta kuenda naye kuchikoro and all, we know all the burden that comes with parenting. Do you have parents in the house? I'm not a parent yet, but yeah, it's draining. So maybe that's why vachizokanda ma-statements akadaro. But I don't think it's actually safer for munhu kuti aindulge in unprotected sex simply because anoshandisa hake morning after because ada prevent a pregnancy more than HIV and other STIs. I mean, that's deadly.
So, my sister, another one. So, you said you take one pill a day.
Yes.
So, but before, because I've had relatives that had AIDS in the past, and they took like 50 pills before. Like, that's like early 90s, early 2000s, right? So, as the medication developed, like evolved for you to be now taking one pill a day?
Yeah, it has. Actually, in some countries, they actually give injections. You can have. I have a friend who is in Europe. She gets a jab once in 2 months. Okay. So we're getting there.
Oh, that's right. So this also brings us to the point where I actually believe that the pharmaceutical companies have discovered a cure for AIDS, but they don't make money from the cure, they make money from the treatment. You know, if we give you a cure, we can't make money from you anymore, right? So you know, I don't know what you think, Nash.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. No, I'm with
like
you,
because they know everything about this.
Because Dr.
virus.
Sebi was telling us that he already had the cure, all these natural herbs and all that stuff, you know. But just out of curiosity, how much do these pills cost? Do you buy them or do you get given for free?
We give them for free.
Okay, but let's
So our government is doing well on that, or is it civic society?
It's our government is doing well.
Oh, okay. Let's okay. So
it's free.
No, not everyone with AIDS.
With HIV, sorry. No, that's, so it's,
you see, people just say HIV, AIDS, like it's one thing, but it's not. But everybody does get, do they?
Yeah, we get our supplies from our local government hospitals and clinics. They can fork out money from their wallets. I do have friends that buy over the counter. It's something it's an arrangement that they want. But I mean, why buy when we get this for free?
Kasi over the counter, it's a better pill than the government one.
No, it's the same regimen. They order them from the same lab in India, and then they are shipped here. So, so with my friends, some of them, they say they don't want to go through the processing clinic because there are files that are there. There are set days that you come and you collect their meds taken, your obs taken.
Yeah.
They just don't want that. They just want
the privacy.
They want the privacy, the convenience of just going over the counter. You buy, you go home, and you live your life. If you can afford, you can. But I mean, for me, why buy them?
Yeah. And has this program that the government runs, has it been affected by any of the things that are happening globally in terms of tariffs and whatever is happening in America? Has there been any shortages with regards to people on this national AIDS program?
Okay, thank you for that important question. I feel the government is in a better position to answer this, and I have no comment.
Yeah, no. I'm saying, like, as you do advocacy, right? Have you come across people who are failing to access drugs? Is basically what I'm asking.
At the moment, no.
Okay, yeah, all right.
So, sorry, I also need to ask Denny. So, when we're growing up, Denny, we are not Keswaropa, and in America, over Keswaropa, those type of things. Is that something that was like.
Did it happen? Or it was just a bunch of.
No.
Yeah, Zanza end up going to change Waropa.
What? When we're growing up, we used to hear stuff like that. Because businessman X, those are not.
I think that, antiretroviral treatment has moved a lot now. It's more advanced, right? But I'm sure back in the day, this theory was plausible to say, like, if your blood is heavily infected, they would go and change it type thing. It was just something that people used to say. I doubt that it was true.
If they could, because HIV is not only found in blood. So I wonder about other body fluids like the seminal and the vaginal fluid. Because
there would still be. If you have HIV, it will still be.
Yeah.
Or maybe it was maybe it was like a dialysis that they used to go through. Maybe it was like a dialysis.
But if it's blood, although it's the greatest, and it's drain. HIV vaginal.
I think it was a story. I think it was a story in the ghetto streets.
Yeah, man.
We come up with streets by bridge. Bridge. We come up with stories. Let's talk about viral load and CD4. Right? Can you just enlighten us on how medical practitioners test for HIV and what the difference is between CD4, viral load, and all these technical terms?
Okay, thank you so much for asking that. So, kanachitarangaye CD4 and viral load, they have a correlation, which is inverse. CD4 has to be more than the viral load at all times. Or maybe ndamanya, CD4 ndo atoti masoja mviri. Those are the antibodies against HIV.
Okay.
And viral load is the amount of virus in the blood.
Yeah.
So before paitama certain advancements and before taking all my machines, we used to rely on CD4 count. It's still being used,
right.
Especially uchitanga test what they would want to check your CD4 kuti masoja akawanda seimu mumiri. And for kuratidza medication iri kushanda, always CD4 inofana kuwanda kupfura the viral load.
Okay.
But as you take your medication, now they check more the viral load. Kuti tione kuti iro virus racho rakawanda sei. Saka kana ine different markers to show. You want to say something?
No. I'm going to ask you a follow-up question.
Okay. So it has different figures and markers that actually show kuti a certain level of viral load. Nima figures to show kuti yakawanda, ishoma, or is suppressed or is undetectable.
Right. Okay. So nowadays it's more about you want to test your viral load
Yes.
versus your CD4.
Yeah.
Okay. And then it brings me to the question of tests. A lot of people nowadays, you can go in the pharmacy and get a test kit and whatever. How effective are those test kits? Because I know people go somewhere with a girlfriend and then they say, let's test each other. And then they go ahead and then do it raw or whatever. So let's talk about that. How effective are these kits, and do you support their use? Do you think people should be safe using them and thinking that their partner is safe?
Okay, that's an important question again. So, my test kits are the technique that is behind the test for presence of antibodies.
Okay.
Anotonzi ma antigen antibody test. When someone has HIV, the body produces ma antibodies that fight the HIV. So, paunoita those tests, you're actually testing for the presence of antibodies. It can go pick out arimo, paita a double line. It shows you have HIV. It's important. That's why even you can't only rely on those only, especially ukana ori positive. Unenga uchi paunoinda clinic, they retest you. Yava not a confirmatory test to ensure kuti sure you are HIV positive, and then they start you on meds. So you can't just go make a test of what naka test are positive, start me on meds. They do what is known as a confirmatory test. But however, team, when you take your art religiously and the virus
Art being antiretroviral treatment.
Yes, thank you. The Jeraku. Sorry, Nash, I know such a good trades. Is there an abbreviation you trades? Fine. So there are times where when you do that antibody test, and because you're on art, you're about to break it down.
Yeah.
And it is undetectable. Some of the tests, they actually give a negative result. And it's a false negative. Oripa treatment, you test and you come out negative. It's a false negative because you still have HIV. But the HIV is undetectable. The body is not producing the antibodies. So, amunam antibodies per simple yatorwa, but you still have HIV. It gives a false negative. I hope that's clear.
So let's say ndavakubhava ndasunza human yangu ndakuyidya nditi ndisandasvika pakutsvedza
Okay.
tatora matest aya yabuda iri ka1 line ndogona kutsvedza handibati anything.
Yeah, I'm not going to change.
Handibati anything. Handibati anything.
Well, I'm scared of Congo Chedza based off on the test kits per se. I prefer Kotemochedze based off on the viral load results. Rinoya rakati target not detected.
But rato drama manje because it's Saturday kai tafanenda kuchipatara muswe manje.
Unada jua my manje.
Asi zvimwe.
Musatye nyamambishi. Shande stay protection. Why we should have
chance? No, unenge wachansa munhu.
Unenge wachansa.
Ausomboziya kuti ka ungenda.
Mangwana angoro change mind.
Angoro change mind.
And also ka wangoenda ka ausomboziya kuti
protection nayo na mwari.
Vima une sort. Zvakwazi ungojuma.
Ike zvino mutemo wachinja.
Yeah, what I like that.
Mutemo wachinja. Vima ne chili. Vima ne salt, ne domasi, ne onion, whatever. Just make sure.
Famba
wakarongeka, you know.
Okay.
Yeah. Saka in other words, mira kuchedza.
Yeah, kana unorongeka.
Yeah.
Apa ningwangojuma. Over what you list to test.
Yeah. Okay, so at what point should someone who has HIV and knows they have HIV, should they disclose to a potential suitor? In your, because you know you're into advocacy, you talk to people a lot and that sort of thing.
Okay, thank you so much for that. You know, I love the questions that you're bringing because vanwani nyota yokuziva out there. there is no SOP or standard operating procedure or policy that guys could, at this point, you should disclose. You should disclose your status to your potential partner. I will tell this on my personal lived experience, where I've tried different times to disclose, and all the times have had their merits and demerits.
Right.
Yes. So yandakazo settler for, which I encourage people, is to disclose before pursuing a relationship. Musati matombotanga zvekudana izvezvi, please disclose.
But manje, what happens is you got disclosure quickly, and boys are disappear fast. And then is that not like demoralizing you if, for example, you're trying to start a relationship? Every time you say, boys are rabaya.
Yeah,
Every time you say, boys are rabaya.
Yeah, it can be demoralizing, but it's a good way of assessment to know who is in and who is out. Because when you're starting a relationship, and the goal is to get to marriage where the vows are for better, for worse. I'm not saying HIV is worse because it's manageable, but then how can you claim to love me when you only see me as an HIV diagnosis, as a patient, when you can't see me beyond? So I'm not encouraging people kuti we say ango uya akati Phyllis ndinokuda, and I'm like, all right, Nash, no zatichi dine HIV. Iwe ningi dine HIV. No, the feeling has to be mutual. Kana Nash aga proposer, and I'm equally interested in him. Sorry to use you as an example. So if the feeling is mutual, I disclose. But not only kuti the feeling is mutual, Chete, there is something that I need to do. I need to prep Nash before disclosing. Also, kuti avoid the heartbreak. You need to assess kuti munu, are they ready to receive this kind of information to do with HIV? So you need to ask questions like general questions that you ask each other. I'm relationship, and one of them being, what if the issues of fertility, the issues of finances, now you go to the issues of HIV. What do you take about intimacy without protection? What do you take about the issues of HIV and STIs? Or just create a story. Nash, a friend of mine has been diagnosed and and you can actually to tap out level of thinking ya Nash yagamira say. Yes. So only that it's then makes you sure whether or not you should go ahead and disclose. Because why should I waste my time even though I love that person? I'm setting up myself for a heartbreak based off of the responses. So it's not necessary.
So, but how is I think rejection, how easy is it? How do you handle rejection? Like when you really like someone and then you tell them and then they disappear. That must be heartbreaking.
That must be heartbreaking. Nash has a burning question.
Oh, Lodza.
Oh, Lloyd.
Okay, since Kalatsila cut the middlemen, yes, my heartbreak. So, do you have my website or my group? Say, one on HIV or that question.
Yeah, because she's working on something. She's actively into that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell us. Yeah, you might as well just go ahead and tell us.
My bad.
Before, but I just a boy, the man. AIDS shit. Because they also maybe group AIDS.
But the heartbreak, you're trying to get rid of the rejection element.
No, I'm saying from what he's saying, right? So I'm saying, but why would you limit yourself when you can even just
rejection?
Yeah.
The issue of rejection. You are trying to get rid of rejection. If you go out with someone on a date and you know they're positive, they're not going to break your heart by just blue ticking you. Because they're going into it knowing.
Okay. So maybe to bunch your questions and give you this answer. Whilst myself and others, I don't know if there are 98 others or there are 100 others, we are actively working to disseminate information, especially on terms of the U equals to U campaign, yatuti undetectable is untransmissible. It's possible to have, to be in a serial discordant relationship, but some people are not there yet. Kuti ba should process it and be bold enough to disclose, in as much as they are disadvantaging themselves. That's where I'm coming in with love beyond HIV. It's just my hashtag love beyond HIV, and I'm just linking people, I'm connecting people that are living with HIV to each other. Someone comes in, could inbox, maybe on my WhatsApp, Facebook, whatever platform, social media, and then they they share their request, that's their age, their profession, their contact details, and I share it anonymously and share their contact details. I don't share their profile, and they're seeking a life partner. Nema qualities abanenge vachida, and behind the scenes I will link them. I've had people, most of the people that come Nema requests, they are living with HIV, but also there are some people who actually don't mind, they're HIV negative, and because they're empowered enough, they are not afraid to pursue a relationship, a serodiscordant relationship. So that's basically what I do. And there is a WhatsApp group for singles that are living with HIV, for them to connect in terms of to disclose. So, yeah.
How popular are these serial discordant relationships? I'm asking you this in the context of stigma. Like, how many people have embraced the fact that your partner can be positive and you can be negative and you can still pursue a relationship?
Yo, my guy, they are very popular, but the only drawback is they, like, my inbox is clogged with so many testimonies, but vanu vadikuya nazo out in the open, because in as much as information yakazara, people still talk and they have these derogatory terms and vanongo shora, and so I think most of the people have managed as couples. They've gone to an extent of they didn't even disclose to their parents. Nash, can I use an example again?
Of course.
Inina Nash toirana kuti this is a secret between the two of us. Baberik vanasha nboba woods, but Nasha tuzoti mbibo wangu, she's on her meds, Anton kids akuno trauma supplies angu, and all the other tests, my viral load test and all. Mwana wedu tunotuita, vana vedu tunotuita, matest ese tunoita. There are so many success stories, but people are not willing to put it out there.
So what does this say about the stigma that we are talking about? Are people accepting now that you can have a positive partner and you're negative and what have you? How are we doing on the stigma index?
Well, I'm not so quite sure about the figures on the stigma index.
Yeah.
But then, like I said, information yazara. There is a cohort of people. Population in Zimbabwe. The fraction that I have in my inbox giving these testimonies of these serial discordant relationships is relatively smaller. And the noise on social media, and all, it's actually more. So there is more that still needs to be done in terms of people accessing the correct information. Civil societies, our government has done a lot to put the correct information out there and to make sure that we have community campaigns and awareness and all. But how many people are willing to access the correct information out there? It's like a stigma, because now it's not only the people at large out there. We're seeing even in churches where people are being prayed for HIV is being demonized. We've seen herbalists come and say they talk about so many things, wanting to introduce their products on the market,
So would you say from the 90s, has it improved or it's gone down? Because I remember in the 90s, it was like a death sentence to have HIV. And then now people are realizing that you can live positively with HIV.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at that time frame from the 90s to now, as in terms of stigma, has it improved somewhat?
Oh yeah, it has improved because truthasa kuti kuma-90s ka ndopepepe kunzi munhu aipiwa cup yake ega, ndiro yake zvinhu zvake ega, bhaketi rake ega, handiti. But we've since moved whereby we see even nowadays people can still rent wakatoziva kuti munhu pamba as HIV positive, they can actually share a toilet seat pasina scrutiny kuti munhu aita sei.
So we're moving, but not so fast, but we're moving slowly.
We're moving, we're getting there. Issue iripo yandiri kuona, and what other people might concur with me, is when it comes to lifetime commitments like issues of marriage and all, there's still some stigma that's going on around whereby you have someone who is learned, you perceive them to be learned, they have these credentials, they have a master's, they're director of some company or whatever. But munhu achiri kutaura zvokuti AIDS haiti, AIDS dzakaoma. My friends have called me to tell me they burst in tears because they were sitting at a pub, they were enjoying and there was a conversation going on. But I can't quantify. That's the challenge. With these things, you need to quantify it, and the best to explain this would be the stigma index, which I said currently I have no idea. But these are the things that are happening. So we're moving there, yeah.
Okay. So do you have any personal incidences where you were caught off guard when you said, you mentioned your status to someone and you didn't get the response that you thought you'd get? You have like personal examples of something that has happened to you in that regard?
Yeah, I do. Pani, one of the videos that I shared, I disclosed my HIV status to a medical student. Taifarana, and I was like, yeah, there's a relationship coming on. Then I disclosed. And I didn't do that preparation, just I need to prep Nash.
Because you thought
Munwe health, anoziva. So I just went on. Hey, hi. Kana ndakamborwadziwa, yeah. Ndakamborwadziwa reaction, because now his reaction was, AIDS haiti, asthma ikange nani, BP ikange nani, sugar ikange nani.
Munhu
achiremba uyo ari kudzidzira kuita chiremba, vanhu vari kutipa mishonga, vanhu vari kutichengetedza. So ndopakanyanya kundibaya, because I was caught off guard. Right. Yeah. So because simply I was of the opinion of, they're in the healthcare, what could happen? Yeah.
But do you blame that guy? Because he's probably thinking to maybe one day panengati trades you unotazotora mapiritsi ako uvaibata.
I would blame his reaction. There was lack of emotional intelligence. At first I used to defend no, it's emotional intelligence, but that was lack of it. There was a better way to express it. Then it actually showed the highest level of ignorance in the health sector. Because how could you compare to say there are other health conditions which are better than HIV? And how would you exclaim such AIDS haiti when we are saying there's actually a difference? You could have maybe swallowed it and calmly tell me, no, I can't, I don't have much information on this, other than just to exclaim in the way he did. Yeah.
But when you said you told him, so this is your first early stages of dating or first stages of talking, how many weeks or months into this relationship?
It was during the talking stage. But talking stage very obvious, where you flirt and kuti we both like each other.
So
yeah.
But
No,
of course not kutreza muromo.
No.
So can you get AIDS from kissing?
No.
100%.
100% no.
Can you get AIDS from oral sex?
Yes.
From giving a blowjob, you can get AIDS?
Wonaka tirikuti kana mukasashandisa protection tataura kuti HIV inowanikwa papi kwete AIDS iwe.
Okay, HIV, my sister is here. Are you saying, right, if I get
HIV inowanikwa papi mafluids aya tachataura?
Yeah.
Tambopiwa leseni.
No, so are you saying, no, let's get this straight, right?
Yeah.
If a lady is giving a guy a blowjob, right? Mm-hmm. She could get AIDS.
If you have open cuts and open wounds.
No, she's got no open cuts. She's proper. And then maybe the guy, and then she swallows. No. I'm just saying, like, because because, I mean, help me with this one, Lloyd. It's really because it's very confusing. I really want to know. Sorry? Yeah.
His confusion is right.
So when you swallow is when you get the AIDS.
All right. Yeah. Issue. All right, fine. What am I trying to say? My open wounds and my open cuts and it.
Yeah.
If you swallow, if it passes through your digestive system, and on my open wounds or my open cuts, it's just going to be excreted without going into your body.
Yeah.
I'm taking this phenomena, linking it to something that you didn't ask. Issue of breastfeeding whilst you are HIV positive. Kuti mai vanogona kuyamwisa mwana vaine HIV asi vakaita inonzi exclusive breastfeeding vasingazanganisi nemasolids pasina macuts anoitika mumaintestines emwana anenge akasimba. Mwana can ingest that virus, it passes out and it's excreted as stool without the child contracting HIV. So that's why I'm taking it hangu kuti kana munhu asina macuts mumukanwa ekuti the HIV can pass through the fluid into the cut direct into the bloodstream. Kana asina macuts mudumbu make. So I mean the same concept here, breastfeeding would be the same here, blowjob, where they swallow the semen and the seminal fluid and it just goes.
So, but even without even going to the semen, can a blowjob give you AIDS or HIV?
There are conditions.
Okay, just cuts, as long as they're cuts.
Cuts, no under
Okay.
Those are the conditions. And also, if that person has a detectable viral load, sakakana aine undetectable, vakaita blowjob yavo, then she swallows that virus. It will not be transmitted to that person because it's undetectable. If they're detectable.
No, if it's a guy giving a lady, yeah.
Cuts,
Even you could
vaginal fluid, cats, vaginal fluid, a detectable viral load. Those are the conditions.
Because someone said when you get AIDS when the person like ejaculates, right? That's when like the exchange of fluids. Because when you ejaculate, some stuff goes inside. So that's why Zuma said I went to take a shower and he didn't get the AIDS. Even after he slept with the lady who had AIDS. Yeah, guys, it's HIV.
Yeah, we're trying to educate people. HIV, AIDS. Which one is it?
Yeah, right. No, but you know the story of Zuma. He slept with this lady who was infected. And then he said, I went and I took a shower soon after that. And he wasn't infected.
Yeah, but maybe because the viral load was... You understand? It might not have anything to do with the shower. The shower is just a story that came with it. But maybe this chick who had HIV, it was undetectable. That's why it had nothing to do with the shower. The shower story is a nice story that Zuma said. But I don't think he got out of that one because of the shower.
No, because ndozvaitika kudhara nditi whereby they used to say ukarara nemunhu without protection zvonzi geza zvima misconceptions
Zuma could have gone out with someone who's like Phyllis, undetectable. But because I was not Phyllis anzi ane HIV, but it's not detectable. Over anogeza or ndakaibuda because
that shower thing.
Akaibuda because she's undetectable.
And I won't transmit.
So can lesbians get AIDS?
Eh?
Can lesbians?
What can they get?
Can they get HIV?
Oh,
no,
good Lord.
There's no
penetration.
Yeah.
But the rubbing off when they are having sexual intercourse, it's their genitals against each other. And then the exchange of vaginal fluid whereby virus really detectable. Yeah. It's a huge risk.
No, but then the organs are outside.
Anyway, as long as getting more fluid. All right, fine. Tell me this.
So the fluid is not
when you're talking
dangerous
about
when it comes outside.
Are you trying to say kuti vachambomira vorohwa nemhepo and then you can detect kuti this so and so amount of virus yarohwa nemhepo volatile haichisiri transferable and then they go back to the egg?
No, because I Googled this, then I wanted to find, because then they said the rate of transmission amongst lesbians is very low.
That's interesting. I need to look it up.
All right, she hasn't researched that one.
Yeah.
It will take us long. Let's go now to pastors and churches. A lot of people have gone to church with HIV, being HIV positive. We have my testimony. We were cured by Papa this, Papa that. Do you not, with what you know with regards to HIV, do you not think that some of these pastors should be held liable for culpable homicide or something, because they've they're inspiring people to stop taking medication and people are dying? Do you not think that these people should be held to account?
Well, now it's kind of tricky because of I'm not well versed with the policies in terms of someone consenting and participating willingly, despite the information that is being shared. Because as it stands, we share information, and if I go, I'll give an example. I don't know if it's applicable, but I hope it is. Say I have a detectable viral load, but I give you information. I can infect you, right? But whether you choose to have unprotected sex with me, despite me giving you that information, can I be held liable for your decision?
Yeah, it's like if I tell you right now to kill me, and you kill me, you'll still go to jail.
Well, if we look at it from that
I'll
angle,
never agree for you to kill me, but you still go to jail.
well, so now I think killing is now a bit kudipisa, which is good. But then, when it comes to these services and churches, I mean, I'm not really sure. It's something that I can post to you and the rest of the team.
Yeah, okay. Nash, what do you think?
What do you think?
What do you think about these pastors? Because someone is getting treatment and they're doing well, and then the pastor says, you are treated in the name of God, Saka, stop taking. And that person gets sick, develops AIDS, and dies. Should the pastor not be held responsible for this?
I think so. Pillows now. I think they should be held up.
Because we have a lot of reckless pastors who are making money from false testimonies, and they're doing this thing and inspiring other people to stop taking medication, and people are dying.
Yeah.
We actually lost a relative. We in Denver.
I've lost friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Church it's the answer. Yet they would just go and get medication.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people are still in denial. In this age, shinotorwadza kuti munhu anofunga kuti zvinorapwa nekunamata iye.
That's why I think
mapostora aya atinongo asinganisi vana kuchikoro, asinganisi vana kuhospital. That's why kana magovernment akatonovaraider. They knew it was wrong.
I think the government has to intervene because
I think the government has to, like what they did with mapostora aya. Mapostora asinganisi vana kuchikoro, asinganisi kuhospital. One they just dying and then they bury them in camp. But I think the government should get in there.
Yeah, thank you for advocating for that, because I think that's why you guys are here. You're not only inviting me as a guest to the show, but you're actively playing a role in giving information and also pushing for maybe policies that could also tackle these issues. Because yes, just last week, it's not a friend, I tend to call people friends. This lady contacted me through TikTok. Yeah. She was in tears. Her mom had defaulted medication. But she got in my faith is strong. And now when she saw her mom, her health was deteriorating. Only to realize kuti kusiyakwa vaita medication, viral load yakwira. And she had to be commenced back on arts. But before vairamba vachingoti my faith is strong, I'll overcome this, It's really sad because they've no kirwa. The more the viral load increases, immune system irku weakener, and like you said, eventually should die. Yeah. So thank you for highlighting that. I think something must be done. Yeah.
Yeah. People can't be reckless to that effect.
No.
Where you tell someone, stop taking your life-saving
treatment.
drugs.
Yeah.
Yeah. So do you see our society ever maturing to the point where people living with AIDS are not ostracized and are fully embraced by society? Do you see that happening at some point in the future, or it's a pipe dream? Yeah,
I see it happening because based off from our journey when the first AIDS cases were reported up to now, a lot has been done. There are several changes that have been made that are positive. There are several policies that have been put in place. So I think we're getting there. But again, on the other hand, it also depends, because I'll give an example of if it's a policy that is set by a country, it shapes the trajectory of how people living with HIV are viewed or treated in a certain space. There's some countries that actually forbid people living with HIV to travel into and stay in their country or work or do anything because of their HIV status. There are some jobs actually within countries anotoita restrict people living with HIV. Like, how would you claim to say, for as part of the recruiting process of this job, they want my medicals, including a clean HIV result? What is a clean HIV result?
So so this is UAE, for example, right? We're talking UAE.
Yes.
What do you think of that policy? I know in the UAE, if you are tested and you're positive, they won't give you a visa. What is your thought on that?
Okay.
As Phyllis, who is HIV positive, versus Phyllis, who does not have HIV.
All right. Thank you so much. So, looking at it from a lens here, Phyllis, who is living with HIV, that's discrimination. Discrimination because why would you forbid me to enter into your country solely because of my HIV status? The reason that I've never experienced that, but I've heard people, on my streets talk about, they want to contain the strain of HIV so that it doesn't mutate, and they just want to, control it within their country.
Is that not a reasonable thing?
Well, we may think it's reasonable, but no people say my ARVs for one to take them to get to an undetectable state. When you're undetectable, you don't transmit the virus. Saka chamurda ku container chichiri kutadzikana nema ARVs.
But looking at it from that perspective, like what you are saying, it depends on you adhering to your medication.
Okay.
Right? What if you stop adhering? Should their whole system crumble based off you not adhering? Right now you're undetectable, which is fine, right? And if you stay like that, is fine. But what is their guarantee that you stay?
How many people, do you have a figure of people that are not adhering to their medication and that is causing a disruption in the function of life or in the ecosystem?
No, I'm just being a devil's advocate. I'm trying to see I'm trying to see it from their perspective.
I'm also trying to make you see from their perspective. Munema statistics here. Do you have any scientific evidence that would show that so many people are defaulting, and va defaulter zvakukanganisa kumabasa industry avarwa vanhu varwara vanhu atirabada pasi, just like how COVID was moving like a wildfire? Do you have statistics of that? Because kana iri yokuti HIV yacho is not manageable se COVID, yes, would say ma lockdowns ngaenforced ma measures akadaro ekuchengetedza, but then we are saying with HIV is manageable. Saka imimi murkuti varire.
No, because do you know what I think? There are also guys, unlike you probably want to contain it. There are guys who actually purposely spread this thing.
Again, do you have evidence of the number of guys who are purposely spreading and the effects that are happening?
No, I've heard of people saying,
I'm sure you even in your advocacy work, there are some people who are bitter and angry and at the world, and they want to go with as many people as they can as well, type thing. I've heard of these stories. Have you come across these stories in your advocacy work?
Yes, I have come across the stories, but like I'm saying, these decisions are made on a huge level, on an international level. I'm not supporting kuti vanospreada vasiyei vaite zvavanoita. No, but am I saying mune mafacts here evanhu vachona vari kuspreada zvichikonzeresa madisruption mumaservices or whatever in the country? For us to say takutongobhana vanhu from entering the country, Are they not Arabs in that country who are living with HIV who can have that same idea? Tinonzo ndokunoza rakanyaya dze-trafficking, human trafficking. Can they not have that, that power to traffic abantu and then we spread and then people come back to their respective countries? I mean, that's just discrimination.
Yeah. No. We are totally against the discrimination. But I was actually just trying to see like where the reasoning is from their perspective. Like they're saying, look, if you've got issues, keep your issues out there, don't bring it here type thing. It's a very draconian way of doing it, but that's how they're doing it out there in in that region. Yeah. So you are actively involved in trying to get HIV positive people to date other HIV positive people, obviously to get rid of this whole issue of rejection and stuff. What are some of the have you ever considered starting an app, for example? Because now you can just make apps about everything, anything. You have Tinder and things like that. You could have one. Wouldn't that be a good idea, Nash?
That's very good.
To have
But then
like an
I'm
app?
really against that and for it at the same time because she's probably dated people who are negative. So when you put these Tinders for only people who are negative or positive,
But does it not give options? Vasingade rejection. Vasingade rejection should be able to freely do that. But okay, in rejection, of course, it's open to them. They can try with what do you call them?
Zero discordant.
Serial discordant. That's a new word that we picked up.
Yeah, in terms of an app, I've been considering it for a very long time, based off my experiences I have with other dating apps where I just wanted to see how they work, where you can share your picture and, and everyone has access to it. So I was still thinking around
Maybe do it without a picture?
Without a picture, how can we control who has access? Because because we're trying to make it strictly for people living with HIV, so something along those lines. But
there are challenges, but it's doable. But I'm sure there's a number of things you need to work your way around.
I think so.
But it's it's something that you can look into. How do you decide what stories to share on social media, and what do you hope to achieve through your storytelling on TikTok and all these platforms?
Okay, so in terms of storytelling, it's guided mainly by the topic that I want to discuss. I've been doing a cycle on HIV and disclosure, and where I see panonyanyo kuitskanyaya was disclosing to a potential partner. So that's what prompted me to share stories with you. I'm just not coming on a platform to give you information, no, disclose early or disclose late. I'm giving information, but I'm also giving an account of where I had personal experiences, disclosure, disclosure, and the outcome, so that people can but people can actually link and make decisions. So maybe because of her story, I can be inspired to do this, or no, it's all worth it. Let me not disclose early like she's doing because Shakazomitra ABC. So that's what inspires me. It's topic specific. Yeah.
And what advice would you give to others living with HIV who may be struggling with mental health issues or feelings of isolation?
Yeah, some research really does point out to say people living with HIV struggle more than someone asina HIV. So that vulnerability, I would encourage people living with HIV to take advantage of the available services in hospitals, clinics, people therapies, because sometimes you're afraid to disclose to the next person. There's so many people who have come through my inbox and tell me they are HIV positive and they have not disclosed yet to family members. So in terms of my struggles, sometimes if they're linked to HIV, they don't really have anyone else to talk to. So I would encourage them to visit professionals, seek professional therapy, And that way they can only find help till maybe they are at a stage where they can disclose and share to someone, personal that fear of judgment or anything. Right now, they need to seek professional therapy services.
Okay, and finally, what are some of projects that you're working on in terms of your advocacy, and what sort of assistance are you looking for to better do what you're doing?
So, like you mentioned, the app, currently it's something that I'll need assistance with, because it becomes exhausting, whereby having requests in my inbox and trying to connect. I've been supported by my clinic nurse. She's been very helpful in terms of the verification and all, but it becomes a lot, and we need to scale it up, not only limited to the inbox, because I know there's some people out there who might be afraid to come to my inbox, maybe the confidentiality that I may tell the world, so now she's in my DMs looking for a partner. So we need to scale it up to an app which is open for everyone living with HIV, that they can freely access. It's something that I need help with. And for me to disseminate my information more, since the first appearance on my first show on DSTV, people have been asking me about, why don't you open a YouTube account and do this and that? And I love the work that you're doing. I can't just take my phone, and just do a simple video and just put it on YouTube. I love the work that you put into it, the equipment, the lighting, and the sound, because you take your work seriously. The information needs to be put out there in people must enjoy accessing it. So in terms of the equipment and the finances to go about it, I need support, and also the expertise on how to run this, because I'm not that tech savvy. Yeah.
It'd be nice if she started a podcast, right, Nash? Where she, she does her work.
No, that would definitely work.
And I need Nash on the podcast.
Of course.
Yeah, to make sure it's fire.
Yeah.
Phyllis, we're very happy that you could be here with us. You're a remarkable, strong and brave young lady, and you're doing excellent work in the community, and everyone should support you. Are we at liberty to put your numbers and your contact details on the screen?
Yes, sure.
Yeah. Bako Media. This one is important. Bako sometimes puts stuff when I tell him, sometimes he doesn't. But this one is
Bako,
very important. We need people to assist Phyllis and the work that she's doing. And is there anything else, Nash, that we left out?
No.
Really?
No.
Yeah.
I just want to find out. So does PrEP work?
Thank you so much. Yes, it does work.
Okay.
It helps to prevent HIV.
So, but how many times can one take PrEP?
You need to go to the health facility, and then they assess how long are you in the period of risk. Because unlike PrEP, the post-exposure, where you need to take it for 28 to 30 days after, PrEP is a bit different. Guide with the time you're already in a risk. So they need to go to the hospital, the clinic, the healthcare worker makes a tailor-made plan for them.
So what do our sisters of the night take?
I'm not sure.
Because they have to be taken.
I'm not
They
sure.
might actually not be taking it.
I'm not sure who would encourage them to, but I'm not sure if they are. Yeah. And I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Before we close off.
Okay, Phyllis.
When last did you test for HIV?
3 months ago.
Are you sure? Do I have evidence? Where's the proof?
You didn't ask me for it. I would have brought it.
I'm asking now. And
Yeah.
Nash,
Why is it important to test? Let's just finish off by you addressing this matter. Why is it important for people to know their status?
yeah, it's important so that you can base, depending on the results, you need to take action. If you're HIV positive, to start treatment immediately. I remember when I was tested, when CD4 imbodona, and also we're saying test and treat. You're not supposed to lie down muchipatara wakuiswa madrips and all wakasimba kudaro HIV positive because we are trikuvavarira yatati chitaura iya that undetectable state is achievable if you test and you treat immediately. When you're HIV positive wotongoisuppressa uchiri uri fit, there's no need utomborwara. And then if you're HIV negative ashigomiri ipapo, you need to be responsible. Take care of your health, maintain that negative status. Someone and oh, it's fine, just Zara, but you don't want to be popping a pill every day. For the rest, like before, imagine you said you're 40. Okay, you can cut it.
No, you don't have
I'm
to.
something. I'm 40 something.
You're 40 something. You were not born with HIV. You want to start taking pills right now, and we're still getting there in terms of the stigma. So we're saying it's important you maintain that HIV negative state for life.
Ladies and gentlemen, that has been Phyllis Mavushe. We're going to put her socials on the screen, a phone number. If you want to get in touch with her, please make sure you do. And the inbox is filling up, but I'm sure she can take a few more messages, but we're going to put some other contact details. Phyllis, thank you very much. You've been fun. You're an amazing young lady.
Thank you so much. You're a great host. I enjoyed this.
I'm not bad, huh?
No, I'm
NASH
actually
is also
shocked.
not bad.
NASH is that trigger that we need, the adrenaline for
That's
fight
right.
or flight.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because without NASH, we need you.
Yeah.
Siyakudinga.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Till next week. See ya.
The Denny J Show. Zvanga zviri down ta up tauraitinzwe nyaya dzacho dzese narrative ndaichidwe kana mchida kutipisa deep ndaipidwe make you spill a bean if you know what I